Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to West Park's Donor Appreciation event. I'm Doug Earle, and I'm the CEO of the West Park Foundation. We wanted to share with you a little bit. This is our first event here in our new hospital building, the remarkable facility that you can see, and made possible because of the generosity of our donors like you. So we wanted to share a little bit with you the experience of moving in. So we'll let the video start.
It's been like a long time. I'm gonna get emotional here, but we've really worked hard. Staff have worked hard, physicians have worked hard, volunteers, everybody, to get to this day. This is something you will remember in your careers. So make the best of it. Remember, we're here for the patients. That's why we've done this, and we'll see you at the other end.
Today, we have finally come to the point where we're moving almost 250 patients from our current facility into our brand new hospital. We've been planning this for over 20 years. We've finally come to the day where we're actually going to see it happen and the patients will arrive.
Hey, I feel a little excited. I am happy that we're moving and we will have our own washroom and a beautiful view.
We've involved patients, staff, physicians, volunteers, external advisors and experts. We are making the best rehabilitative care center we can.
The room is beautiful, very, very comfortable. Everybody did a good job. It's gonna be much better for all of us. We're gonna get better and go back home.
My first impression is like, wow, we're really in 2024. It's amazing. It's a complete upgrade. It's gonna be a good spot to hang out with your friends and family. We're finally here. We did it.
I know for those of us in the enhanced living unit, we're really excited to have our kitchen lounge space again. I think that'll really help create that relationship again between like caregiver and patient.
It's more space, it's more air, it's fantastic. If you want to get healed up real quick, this is the place. I'm telling you, it's beautiful.
Come aboard.
Staff are amazing today. We have a great team effort and amazing support for each and every one of us.
Our hospital has always sort of felt like we're a family. Nothing's changed. The staff is the same, the people are the same, the patients are the same, and I hope we can just move into our new space and really enjoy it.
We have a lot to look forward to in terms of technology and keeping the whole hospital and the staff and management, everybody working together. I think it would be great.
This is a wonderful feeling, having the opportunity to be in a new hospital, a new surrounding, more updated, and just knowing that the patients are even more comfortable now. They're really excited. It's a wonderful feeling for all of us, actually.
I remember years ago when we started planning it, it was a dream, it was a vision. Many people didn't believe they'd ever see the day. Together, patients, staff, families have seen the dream and that vision come to fruition.
Isn't that amazing? So we have some members of the campus development team here. Shelley, our vice president. No, there she is, way in the back. And Martha Harvey and Sue McDonald. So give them a round of applause for helping us transform this beautiful space. So we're in fact, we are here in the Weisham Auditorium. And this was named by a former board member, foundation board member, his wife, Lori, and his sister, Susan. As with many of our donors, David was a patient at West Park, and wanted to show his gratitude for the amazing care that he received here. Many areas of our new facility will soon show the recognition of our generous donors that made a gift to help make this build our new hospital and soon our outdoor therapy spaces. This auditorium is state-of-the-art, as is our patient rooms. So this event is available live to our patients who are not able to join us in the room through their integrated bedside terminals. And it is live on the internet, on YouTube. So welcome to all of you who are watching today virtually. I would also like to welcome Janet Newton, our Vice President, Clinical Post-Acute Care. Just one second, Janet. Georgina, our Chair of our board. Dr. Dhillon is here, and Dr. Goldstein will be joining us shortly. And we have some members of our volunteers on our board of directors. Paul Collins, Janet Griffin, who will be our incoming chair, and Peter Fraser from our cabinet, who helped raise the funds, is here in the room as well. So thank you for your volunteer service in joining us today. So I hope you enjoyed that video that was made on April 14th. It is hard to believe that it is 7 weeks that we've been in this building. Learning all the new ways of how to do things, gaining that comfort zone, letting our patients enjoy this new space. And that we moved all of our patients in 10 hours, if you can imagine. It's quite an accomplishment and says an awful lot about our staff helping us make that possible. There was about 600 of us here that day, so it was full out. Many of the foundation staff, including myself, joined other volunteers. It's a very special memory to see the first reaction of our patients as they entered the room. They looked around, the gyms, the terraces, and more. It was truly wonderful. Thank you for helping to make that day possible, because it's our donors that helped with the local share. It's the generosity to West Park and your commitment to patients that helped make this building possible. So this is our celebrating your impact. And I must share, I'm pleased to report that our auditors have finished their work and we have had a record year. In our last fiscal year, West Park Foundation received $16.6 million to support UHN West Park Healthcare Center. Thank you. But of course, we have more to do. As you will see upon your arrival, the work is still ongoing out on the grounds. In fact, our current project will not be completed until June 2025. You will see the transformation continue with the addition of our outdoor therapeutic environments in the coming months. And planning is underway for a second long-term care center on campus. That's why we have several fundraising events planned, of course. Our Golf Classic on August 12th, our Showdown on November 2nd, and the Tournament of Stars in March. Together with your response, responding to our emails, telephone calls, mail, and our major gift support, we have a goal to raise an additional $25 million to support the transformation of West Park's campus. The opening of the new hospital wasn't the only transformational event this year for the West Park community. In April, we joined the University Health Network. It is a leading world-class healthcare institution in Canada, ranked number 3 in the world by Newsweek magazine. It was not a decision taken lightly, but the benefits are so many. For our patients who now have access to a wider range of programs, for our clinicians and researchers who will see their research programs expand and support systems for our clinical programs, and for the healthcare system, which benefits when institutions come together to help meet the community need. We're going to explore those topics in a few moments. But first, I'd like to ask Janet Newton to come forward and bring greetings from the hospital.
Thank you so much, Doug. So much incredible work, guys. From the staff, the physicians, our donors, incredible building, incredible move, and so much, as Doug said, so much work to come. So I'm Jan Newton. I'm one of the clinical vice presidents from UHN. West Park is going to be part of my portfolio on a go forwards. I'm a physiotherapist by background, so this is really exciting for me because I've had our Toronto rehab family. I've been working with them for the past 4 years. I've been at UHN for a very long time, but the post-acute sector for the last 4 years, and having West Park added to that really does give us, it will give us 700 plus beds of post-acute care to deliver. That's incredible. And we've got so much potential in terms of work that we can do together, taking the best of all sides, and the teams have got some fabulous ideas, and there's so much engagement. The future is bright, certainly. Makes things a little bit different when you've got that much to work with. So I'm actually here on behalf of Kevin Smith. Dr. Smith is our CEO from UHN. He is not able to be here today, but on behalf of Kevin, the senior team, UHN executive, and everybody, we are so excited to welcome West Park to our family. Tremendous healthcare facility with tremendous reputation, and we really are looking forward to working together. April 1st has been and gone very quickly, but it's been an absolute pleasure to start to get to know the teams and to look at how we can optimize working hand in hand. So truly, the work that you do as donors, the time, the energy, the support you provide as donors is absolutely instrumental to everything that we do, and the building is a testament to that. So lots to come, and I know we're going to hear from Dr. Dhillon and Dr. Goldstein in a moment. But really just wanted to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to Doug. Thank you to the entire foundation team. Thank you to the outgoing and incoming chairs, and thank you to all of you as donors for all that you contribute. You do make a difference every single day. Thank you.
So thank you, Janet. It's my pleasure now to introduce Georgina Stinsky, Chair of the Foundation Board of Directors. And this is actually her last day as chair. And as a Foundation board member. So she's going to be passing the chair later today at our annual meeting to Janet Griffin. Georgina has been a long-time volunteer at West Park, a tireless supporter. She has been a volunteer board member since 2015 and chair of our board for the last 6 years. She has steered us through the most critical period in West Park's history, our 120 years of service. With the construction of our new hospital building, we owe her a great debt of gratitude. And I mentioned earlier that many of our donors and volunteers have started as patients, and Georgina's no exception. And she's agreed to tell us a little bit about her West Park story. Georgina?
Thank you, Doug. So, as I was preparing my remarks, as Doug mentioned, it is a kind of poignant day for me today. But in a sense, I'm graduating. I'm graduating from being a working volunteer to being a working donor and ambassador for West Park. However, it also made me reflect on how did I get to West Park? And that took me back to 2010, when my general practitioner referred me to a physiatrist here, Dr. Rika Soric, who was very much the moving spirit behind the MSK unit. I had extremely severe osteoarthritis in both hips, and the surgeon had told me I should have both hips operated on at the same time, which meant that I wouldn't be able to walk, which meant that I would need rehab, Well, this was a totally new experience for me. I had no idea what rehab was. I really didn't totally understand my condition. And Dr. Sorich was very helpful in explaining the services of rehab. And she gave me 2 very good tips. One was there are wonderful grounds at West Park where you can do your rehab, and you'll be able to walk extensively in these beautiful gardens. So Doug, it's very important that these outdoor spaces get funded and recreated, because I think I wasn't the only one that would benefit from the wonderful outdoor space. The second thing she mentioned was that there was a plan to build a new hospital. And then she turned to me, she shrugged her shoulders, and she said, you know, I wish that would happen, but funding for rehab is so low priority, and it needs about $100 million. I don't think we're ever going to see that. Well, 14 years later, here we are. And I thought, I hope Dr. Sorich, she retired in 2015, has been able to see this site if she's still in Toronto, because who would have believed it 10 years ago, 14 years ago actually, when I first stepped into the older building to see what could happen to me. I did get my hip surgery, I did walk in the gardens, and then as a result of that, I decided that I would also join the board of directors and make donations, because it was not just the physical care that I got, it was the spirit. I think that West Park has as a rehabilitation hospital, has a amazing, I call it a kind of aura about it, which is very unusual, where one comes and feels that one is being nurtured. And I felt that from the very beginning when I came in and was greeted, was given the care I needed, and also even when I was sent home, the advice I got, the help I got, and then the advice that was available if I needed it to me after. Now, I know that many of you have stories similar to mine, and we're also, as Doug mentioned, extremely grateful to you that you've expressed your gratitude by becoming donors. On behalf of the board, on behalf of the staff here, I want to thank again all of you. We're extremely grateful for your generosity and your commitment. And I'm also looking forward to remaining very loyal to West Park, to attending the events, to being a sponsor of some of them, and I hope that I will be able to meet some of you at these events and to continue to see you at West Park through the coming years as it grows with University Health Network. I think there's a huge potential there, and things are even going to get bigger and greater. So thank you for coming today, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.
So thank you, Georgina, for sharing your story with us and a little bit about this importance of getting your life back, which is really what we do here at West Park every day. So I'd now like to welcome Dr. Dhillon to join me on the stage, formerly the West Park Healthcare Center's Chief of Staff, and now the Medical Site Director for UHN West Park Programs. We have much to discuss, and our beautiful new building is not only having a profound impact, come on up, on our patients, but it's improving our in-demand programs and enabling us to transform how we deliver care to meet the needs of an aging population. And with UHN, driving innovation in patient care and research, it's all part of a mission to create the world's leading rehabilitation center here at West Park UHN.
Hi, Doug.
So how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Great, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Great, so I have a couple of questions for you.
Absolutely.
To share with our audience here in the room and of course virtually. So congratulations on your appointment. What does it mean to be a medical site director, West Park Programs?
Great. First, thanks again for having me, and I'm excited to be here. I think, in terms of my role, there's a lot of similarities to what I was doing as the the chief of staff, but there are some nuances, some differences. In terms of some similarities, I think one of the key responsibilities I'm going to have is to continue to ensure that our physician group is highly engaged. We have long enjoyed a highly engaged physician staff that's really contributed to the success of West Park over the years, and something I hope to continue to encourage and support. So our physician staff continue to provide great ideas and engagement to the growing West Park with the UHN family.
Tremendous.
Yeah, the other thing I think would be supporting the integration process in general, looking at alignment with UHN in terms of safety and quality, programmatic alignment, and other system alignment as well.
Great.
Yeah.
So our donors have donated almost $30 million towards this new hospital building. Perhaps you could share a little bit about what you're seeing in that tremendous impact of the generosity.
Yeah, first of all, thank you to all the donors. The $30 million goes a long way and has had a significant impact to not only our patients and staff, but it's changed the environment that we live in and work in. I find, speaking on behalf of myself, I think I have always enjoyed coming to West Park, enjoyed coming to work, but with this new building, there's definitely an extra pep to my step. So I'm quite excited to come into work. The environment really changes the level of engagement for everyone. So I think that's a really important step. The clinical tools that we have in this new building, the equipment, the clinical spaces that we have in this new building are amazing. They're second to none, and areas that we can really support and really do some interesting work with our patients to help support them to get home.
And what have the patients been telling you? It's been 7 weeks since we've been in.
No, I know. It's still early days. We're still working out a lot of the kinks, but I think the happiness, the enjoyment of patients and families when they walk in through these doors is quite clear. They're happy to see the new environment, look at the new equipment that's in place. So that's something that's really exciting. The other areas that we're really looking at are the expansion of some of the clinical areas that we have. So one of the things is our outpatient clinics. Our outpatient clinic capacity has expanded threefold. And this is in keeping in line with the anticipated changes with our aging population and the clinical needs of our community. So keeping that in mind, the expansion of our clinical capacity, looking forward to keeping patients healthy at home is going to be an important feature for rehabilitation in the future.
So I think there's a new program in geriatrics that's opening.
Yeah.
Maybe talk a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So, I think over the last 3 or 4 years, over the last couple of years with our new geriatrician, Jamal Dapperdine, which I believe some of the donors may have met during the previous town hall, we've changed our direction and really expanded our geriatric portfolio and done some innovative ideas and innovative things with our geriatric program. And one of the things that we're about to launch is our geriatric day program. So patients in this community particularly, but further areas as well, where we can support patients at home. So they get geriatric, they come to West Park on a daily basis or multiple days a week and get some therapy as a group, and we're able to support them to live healthy at home.
That's tremendous. Now, one of the things that was discussed during the integration discussion with UHN was limb preservation. And I'm wondering, what is West Park doing to help expand limb preservation in Ontario?
Absolutely. So limb preservation is an important topic. It's been identified by Core Health, part of the Ontario Ministry of Health, looking at ways to, Ontario in general does poorly in terms of clinical outcomes for patients with vascular disease. We have one of the highest rates of amputations in patients with vascular disease compared to any other industrial jurisdiction. So an area that we can show significant clinical improvement. 80% of amputations are preventable and caused by issues such as diabetes. And we can really make a significant clinical impact to improve clinical outcomes in these patients. UHN, prior to the merger, had already started to develop limb preservation strategy. But they were at the point of launching the clinical programming with the limb preservation strategy. So we're coming at a time which is quite opportune, where we can really expand and really help look at new ways of doing something quite unique and really setting a gold standard, I think, nationally and potentially internationally for limb preservation with this collaboration with our clinical programming, both amputee and prosthetics that we have here on site.
And one of the facts that I discovered when I joined West Park was that once you've lost your first limb, within 3 years, you're at risk, 50% are at risk of losing their second limb.
Yeah.
So this is quite critical to our patients.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the limb preservation strategy, part of it, at least from our side, what we're really good at is secondary prevention. We're very good at optimizing and minimizing patients to reduce the risk of a secondary amputation. One of the ways is getting them a prosthesis. Activity and physical activity and movement have been known to improve vascular disease and stabilize vascular disease. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is obviously medication management and optimization, something that we're very comfortable with and something that we can really provide an additional support to those patients, both in the vascular team as well as the orthopedic teams at UHN that do patient care with patients with vascular disease.
Now one of the features to help with prosthetics, of course, is we manufacture them here at West Park. And so how is the new prosthetic and orthotics center helping contribute to that?
Absolutely. So our P&O, our prosthetics and orthotics department, is a unique resource. There's not many places in the province that are able to produce prosthetic devices on site. And our prosthetics department now is only a few feet from our amputee program. Having these places co-located allow for a unique ability to collaborate and really create a unique opportunity to do some unique, important things. For our prosthetics department, the new building also affords us all this brand new equipment, state-of-the-art equipment, where we can do some really interesting things with our prosthetic devices.
I can't wait to see with our 3D printers in the new center how we're going to develop and match the traditional manufacturing of a prosthetic.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working with a 3D printer, for a couple of years, for a few years, in terms of building prosthetic sockets to optimize prosthetic fit. But one of the things with the collaboration and relationship with UHN, and particularly their research arm, KITE, is to look at, and collaborating with their biomedical engineers, is looking at different materials to produce prosthetic devices with a 3D printer that might even further strengthen and optimize the type of prosthetic devices that we can create.
Great. So thank you. I'm going to invite Dr. Goldstein to join us on stage, and then I'll invite you back up for our Q&A.
Absolutely.
So as Dr. Goldstein comes up, he's stepping out of the respiratory clinic right now, so we really appreciate taking a few moments to join us and in the hot seat here.
Thank you.
So thank you. So what are people saying about the patients when they come in to see you in your clinic just now about this new building?
They love it. Nothing works. Oh, sorry. No, they love it, and not only is it beautiful aesthetically, but there's really accumulating evidence that when you add space and light, that's a very healing quality, both physical health and mental health, social health. So I think the patients and the staff actually love it.
Oh, tremendous. I know, we really made an effort, Shelley and her team really made an effort to make sure that nature could be a part of the building, and the light is a key feature, trying to make it warm and welcoming, because this is a hospital, but we want you to come back frequently to get your therapy, right? So, so we hope that you find it warm and welcoming. So the respiratory program at West Park dates back from the very roots of the founding of this hospital. It's been 120 years to this year that we've been taking care of respiratory diseases on site, with tuberculosis being the first back in 1904. And I'm wondering, if, how have we grown to be as a respiratory program here, and sort of maybe tell us a little bit about today's respiratory rehab program.
We still have three main themes, and in fact tuberculosis is a founding theme of West Park. It was a tuberculosis sanitarium located in the outskirts of the city at that time on Buttonwood Farm. They did some pioneering work in those years, and the TB unit is still the largest provider in the province of inpatient tuberculosis services. So TB is still around, and it's a mature program with clinical care, teaching and research. And it's very interesting, in fact, that rehabilitation came from tuberculosis. The first article published on rehabilitation, so I'm thinking like 1890, something like that, Charles Dempsey was a respirologist who was in a TB sanitarium, rather like West Park would have been in those days, and made the observation that exercise was very important as the lungs heal. When they were very inflamed, then rest was important, rest and nutrition, sunlight. But as the lungs healed, exercise was very important. He published a book called Exercise and Nutrition for the Pulmonary Invalid, which actually had all the principles of modern day rehabilitation. So the rehabilitation program came out of tuberculosis. Well, today it's a full program. We have inpatient, outpatient and virtual rehabilitation, all based at the site. And again, it's a mature program with clinical care, teaching and research so that it works as a whole. The ventilation program is the other stream. And again, that came about because physicians like myself, Dr. Verarity, Dr. Casey, the three of us work on that unit, and others observed that in the intensive care units of acute care hospitals, patients who became stable but still required ventilation were essentially stuck in a room with a lifestyle of 6 or 8 feet of tubing. And there was the thinking that perhaps we could move them to a safe place that could also offer a more rehabilitative environment, and perhaps you could get some of them home. So spin the clock forward, it's a 69-bed unit, it's the largest unit in the country, and West Park is also the secretariat of the provincial program for long-term ventilation. So it's quite a pivotal program. And so those are the three streams that we have, and they're three mature streams.
Now, West Park played quite a role during COVID with our long-term vent program. Maybe could you share a little bit about that experience?
Well, it's easy to forget about COVID. It's quite remarkable how little people remember, but at the time, it was something 1 degree short of panic. When we lost 30,000 Canadians to COVID. So in the case of this ventilator program, we got an urgent call to expand the program by 26 beds. The idea was to relieve the intensive care units that were crammed with patients requiring ventilation, so they had to move their more stable patients out. So there was a bit of a rush to open a unit. And that's actually what made us such a large unit, the response to COVID. And we had a lot of challenges around COVID, challenges that one recalls. And here we are today. Now there are a lot of referrals, and we work closely with the other respiratory centres in the GTA, Michael Garron, Toronto Grace. All three sites do long-term ventilation.
I'm amazed, actually, when I came to West Park that we took in about 360 patients from ICUs around the province. And today there's really, we've been able to return to the community well over 300. It's what was West Park doing on the cutting edge to help people live in the community but be on long-term vent?
So this whole community program is called a transitional program, where we would pull people from the intensive care unit, bring them here, train them to use their ventilators, try to stabilize their medical condition, and train them to manage at home. These are ventilator-assisted individuals. So there are many, many components to it. Raj Kohli sitting here. Raj created a portal so that any patient in the province requiring ventilation can learn where to go, what to do. Healthcare professionals can be instructed. Families can be instructed. So our provincial portal was a key part in sending patients home. And the training program that the multidisciplinary team effected managed to move people from ICU through West Park back to the community, where the vast majority remain today.
It's just tremendous. So thinking about donors and how they've helped our respiratory program, can you maybe highlight some of the work that's been done at West Park and around the world thanks to our donor support?
Well, I think the focus on teaching and research has been very, very important to the growth of West Park and to the spread of knowledge around the world. And I say around the world because information is spread in different ways. One of them is through publications. So, for example, we have 350 publications related to the rehabilitation work that's done at West Park. So we're known far and wide because people read that material. The clinical training and the teaching has been a huge step forward and could not have occurred without support from the Foundation. And I want to acknowledge you, which most people don't do because you're busy asking us questions. You've been a tremendous force in this direction. So for instance, we have a postgraduate training program for physical therapists who are interested in doing doctoral degrees. And we've trained a number of them in Canada. They've gone on to lead programs in other universities. They've gone on to lead programs in other countries around the world. And similarly for physicians, we have a fellowship training program. Right now I have a physician with me from, I'm just trying to think, we have three actually. One from Saudi Arabia, one from Africa, we have one just left from Singapore. So the Nigerian physician is here for 6 months, Singaporean was here for 6 months, the Saudi physician is here for a year. This sort of program allows us to train and spread the word, and these individuals go back to their countries and essentially clone our programs, which is what we're very proud to do. So I think the donor base has been hugely important in our teaching and our research.
Tremendous. So UHN treats more than 50,000 lung patients annually, and its lung transplant program just is second to none. In fact, it just had its 1,000th lung transplant at Toronto General Hospital. With the merger, what do you see happening in the future with West Park's rehab and the lung health program at UHN?
I think if you consider that you take two centers of excellence and you merge them and you combine a commitment to excellence in clinical care and teaching and research, then you have a magical formula, you have a winning formula. And it's a formula that you can dream with. So you can create and amplify your spirit of inquiry. You can have new ideas and new treatments. For example, our rehabilitation program matches the lung transplant program around COPD, which is the smoking lung disease. We might now have the opportunity to look at other lung diseases that hitherto we hadn't worked with. Lung cancer, and also rarer disease, interstitial disease, and pulmonary hypertension. The names don't matter so much as the concept of broadening the individuals who we could help by working together. So we can learn from each other, and as long as both sides are committed to excellence, then it's a tremendous opportunity. It's a sort of lungs are us sort of opportunity.
That's great. Well, West Park is known for its lungs, so it would be great. Dr. Dhillon, could you please join us? And Martha has a microphone, so we're going to have an opportunity for you, our audience, to ask some questions. So just stick up your hand if you have a question. There's one right on the front row with Peter.
Good afternoon. I have a question for Dr. Goldstein. You've reminded us about COVID. I know that in the early stages of COVID, there was, as you sort of said, it was a pretty chaotic situation, especially with respect to the treatment of ventilation and so forth. Could you just summarize your learning experience and how much we've evolved into today's treatment protocols?
That's a terrific question. Let me give you an example. We were wondering what to do at the beginning of COVID, what sort of rehabilitation we would offer COVID survivors. I called a friend of mine in London, England, Louise Rose. I said, Louise, what sort of rehab are you doing for COVID survivors? She said, I don't know, Rog, we've never seen one. And that's where we began. I think that really encapsulates where we started. And so today, of course, with the vaccinations, that's made a huge difference to the severity of COVID and the impact of COVID. I think we're faster to diagnose, faster to identify sick and vulnerable people from people who've had just a relatively mild experience. There are new treatments. So it's now a completely different condition, but it was the dark ages at the beginning. And again, the multidisciplinary team has been crucial. It really hasn't been one individual or one discipline. It's been the concept of a team working together that has really helped us move forward through COVID. And continues today with long COVID and brain fog and all the leftover sequelae that we're beginning to understand.
We have some other questions?
You did mention long COVID, and it's quite a complicated constellation of symptoms, and yet we know, roughly a tenth of patients who develop COVID also go on to have long COVID. What programs are we able to offer those who are trying to recover from that facet of the disease?
Bikram, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So we had launched, we had a COVID clinic for a period of time. It was an area where we were able to provide some physiotherapy, occupational therapy, as well as speech-language pathology supports to these patients. Unfortunately, due to lack of funding, we were waiting for approval from the ministry, but there was a lack of funding to support this. And what we're seeing in the community in general is a lot of these COVID clinics that had popped up in various settings have closed. So there's very minimal supports, unfortunately, for patients suffering with long COVID in the community right now.
Do we have another question?
Almost every day we hear the term artificial intelligence, or maybe it's hourly. I'm just curious what types of things are happening with artificial intelligence in UHN, the various parts of UHN, and what do you see in the future as the art of the possible with artificial intelligence?
Jan? Jan Newton is a VP of UHN.
Do you want to pass the mic to Jan?
So,
Do you want to talk about the research?
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but no? I knew you would know more.
Didn't hesitate.
But I did. That is a great question, and I will not be able to do it justice, but I will do my best. So artificial intelligence at UHM, we are very, very engaged. We've actually, I think we're the first hospital in the country to have appointed a chief AI officer. So we have a doctor by the name of Bo Wang who leads our artificial intelligence team, and largely donor funded. This team is looking at how we apply artificial intelligence across the entire continuum. So I like to simplify things. I'm not techie, so I think of it as we have big AI, where there are some incredible things around data consolidation and listening ability into interviews or into conversations, and then it can condense and analyze and spit out conclusions. We also have little AI that we're using all the time across the board. We all have examples of small AI. So I think we are scratching the surface. The Pandora's box is opened for sure. There is so much more to come on this, but we're using it with everything from analyzing imaging reports, looking at trends in lab data, all kinds of things, all the way through to the drones that are flying organs across the city. So lots more to come. This is something that UHN takes very, very seriously. We think the future is bright, and whether we like it or not, we're going down that road. So we are committed to trying to make sure we optimize that and that we make sure that we get the best outcomes for our patients. The one other thing I will say, because it's on everybody's mind, is the privacy and the ability for AI to do things that we don't necessarily want it to do is also a grave concern. So we have lots of eyes on it. It'll not be enough. Many of our American counterparts have massive teams doing some of this work. Again, none of it is publicly funded in Canada, but we do have tremendous support from people like you who allow us to be able to start to figure out what that future looks like. And our West Park team will absolutely be hand in hand all along the way. So as we sit at tables, Roger, Bikram, many of the other docs will be sat at tables having these conversations. It's starting to surface in almost every conversation we have. So it's quite fascinating. So no, keep asking the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have time for one more question. Georgina?
I was just curious, when the merger was announced, there was emphasis on a vision for a lung institute. And I'm just wondering, Dr. Goldstein, looking maybe 10 years ahead, what would be your dream of what that might look like, and what role do you see all the work that you've done playing in that?
Well, I don't want to look 10 years ahead. I'm way too impatient. So let's look 2 years ahead. And I think with 2 years ahead, we'll have some joint projects that marry the qualities of the two sites and allow us to move forward, both in our patient care, who we serve, how we serve, the nature of the research that we do, the nature of the education that we offer. So it is really an opportunity to create excellence by promoting a spirit of inquiry across the board. That's how I see it. So I see it as the place to go to in North America for people who have lung disease or for clinicians who want to learn about lung disease.
Now, one of those projects is our collaboration with Black Creek Community Health Center. Maybe you could share a little bit about that.
So it's a very good example. Just up the street at Jane and Finch is a very underprivileged, socioeconomically underprivileged population. We've become increasingly involved with them, and to go back to your question about donors, as a result of of your hard work and the TD Bank's generosity, we have a major program going on now to try and improve population health in that setting. So now we're trying to screen such individuals, understand what they know about their lung disease, and then stream them as to who can be treated locally, who can be treated virtually, who needs a full rehab program, or who needs referral to a more sophisticated center like UHN. So that's an example, a collaborative, forward-looking program where we can actually do something for the population around us, as opposed to the small population that we house.
Great. Do we have one more question? No? Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Goldstein, Dr. Dhillon, for joining us, sharing a little bit about, please. Sharing a little bit about what patients are saying about this new hospital building, how excited we are that we'll have outdoor therapy spaces soon, and and also the opportunity with our integration with UHN. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to turn this off.
So I'm going to thank everyone for joining us today. In the room, but also virtually through our integrated bedside terminals and on YouTube through our internet. We really appreciate that you were able to join and learn a little bit more about the impact of your philanthropy. And this brings the formal part of the event to a close. We do have some refreshments and some snacks, so please join us. Meet our team, our volunteers, and I think Dr. Dhillon said he was going to stick around for a few moments. I know Dr. Goldstein has to get back to clinic, but most of all, I really thank you and thank you for your support, helping West Park, helping UHM West Park help people get their lives back. Thank you.